étudiants, 8th standard. So last year you were in 7th standard and this year you are being promoted to 8th standard. So congratulations to all of you. I welcome you all for this new session and a new class for you. So this year you're gonna rock and you'll be doing very well in all your subjects, and that's my special appreciation for you. So have a good start, have a good day today. Okay, so shall we start? Fine. So first class, what would your expectation? What will sir teach? Are we going to have a new book? Yeah, it will take time, right? So definitely it will take anyway 1 week, I think. So I will give you some time to buy the book and I'll tell you what book you have to buy. Okay, so that will be my first information for you. So I'll tell you the name of the book. The name of the book is same book, Apprenons le français. But last year what you learned is volume 2. Okay, this year you have to buy volume 3. Okay, so Apprenons le français volume 3. So this book could be bought in Saraswati bookstall, or there is a bookstall called Kitab, that is used books will be sold out there, you can buy there. If not, you can buy this online, amazon.com, you can buy it. If not, there is another way. People who bought the book, you just share the book with your friend, that is allow them to take Xerox of 3 lessons alone. Sorry, 4 lessons. Okay, imagine 4 lessons. To be safe, to be in safer side, let's take 4 lessons. First 4 lessons we'll have with us. Take a Xerox copy and you have it with you. So book is must. So what we are going to do this week without book is we are going to revise 7th standard portion. So 7th standard I taught you few things and hope you guys remember that. So we are going to revise the same for just 1 week. Okay, so that is ER verb, IR verb. Lesson content will not touch, don't worry, that is too much. That is 8 or 10 lessons we have, so we will not touch into lesson or vocabulary. But when you are free at home, just try to learn the vocabularies once again from each and every lessons. So repeat. So Apprenons le français volume 3, that is the book which you have to buy this year. Okay, so next, notebook. Okay, I think school will not be giving you a notebook this year. What you could do is you can use the same notebook which you used last year, that is 7th standard you were having a note, right? If there is space on it, use it. In case if you do not have, just try to put 192 pages ruled note. Okay, so you all know very well, no short size note for language. Okay, so 192 pages ruled note, long size note. Okay, secondly, you must have a rough note, because you're going from 6th to 7th and now 7th to 8th. So definitely you have to practice a lot, because language is one option where you could score well. Okay, so don't miss the chance, as you guys are very interested towards language. Try to improve from now on, so that will be very important to reach your 10th standard. And in case if you want to make a sentence, start from here. Fine. So rough note will be the first step to reach center. So what I would suggest is 192 page ruled note for your classwork and rough note for your practice. Okay, you might have a question, so what am I going to practice? You're going to give the class, teach the class, and I'm going to follow it. What am I to practice? It's very simple. Grammatical things you must practice. When grammar is practiced, you will be able to write a sentence, and sentence becomes the para, and from then you will be able to write a letter on French, and that will be easy for you. Okay, so there are few do's and don'ts. So before getting into this year, there are some do's and don'ts. What you must do before the class, after the class, and what should be avoided during the class. So let's discuss on that also. Do's. revise the portion on the same day. For example, in case if I finish one topic today, revise it on the same day. Probably you will be having online test on the same day. It is must to revise on the same day. In case if you miss the class, try to revise it by the next immediate day. Okay, the next day itself. Don't drag it. Okay, don't keep on dragging it. Don't allow yourself to take a long time, because if you take a long time, the class will get accumulated and you will have a big burden. So revise the topic on the same day and take up the test. You will have an online test. Even today you have an online test. I'll tell you what portion is it. And okay, so today's portion is very simple. ER verb and IR verb. ER verb, you are very familiar with ER verb, I know, and IR verb you have learnt at the end of the 7th standard. So any ER verb, just 2 ER verbs I will revise here and 2 IR verbs I will revise here. So those 2 verbs you will be having test on online. Okay, so if you know the endings alone, it will be easy. Okay, so next is practice ER verbs. So start with ER verbs, you know it. Anyway, we are going to see next. So practice that each and every time, and that will be helpful for you. Fine. And accessories. What do you mean by accessories? Accessories is nothing but you must have few things when you take up the class. Okay, so you must have a pencil. This is very must. Pencil, eraser and a scale. Okay, I might ask you to underline sometimes, so you must have these things before starting a class. So do not forget that. Have a pencil whenever you sit for the class. Okay, there is also some don'ts. Okay, sit alone. Okay, so things which you must not do. Okay, so you must sit alone. Okay, that is what I say. Okay, don't sit together. Imagine, don't sit with your brother or sister. Okay, sometimes when you listen to the class, your younger brother will be next to you. He'll be keep on just calling you, grabbing you. Okay, he'll be just playing with you. At the same time, you'll be listening to class. Please don't do those things. Sit alone. Okay, don't sit with your brother or siblings. Okay, second, don't sit in a noisy environment. In case if your parents are watching any drama, so nowadays it happens, right? So your parents are watching drama, and the next room, which is very near to the living room, you will be there. You will be taking up your online class. Don't do that. So choose a place for you, and in case if possible, after practicing each and every topic, you stick that particular page in your room for a day, so that when you go and come back, you will have a eye on it, and you will revise it, and that will be a good practice for you. Okay, so let the world know what you are learning. Okay, that will be great. Fine. So noise, no. So keep up these things in your mind. First thing, try to buy a book or take a Xerox. Okay, or just buy it online. I have given you 1 week of time, so please don't tell me take step right now. Please don't tell me next week, sir, book is not available. Start from the scratch. Okay, that means you have to buy the book immediately or take a Xerox from people who buy it. Okay, it is very simple. Okay, I think you can do it. You will do it. Note, most of the things which I repeatedly see is they never start writing in the classwork. Okay, imagine if you don't write a subject, will that be friendly with you? Will the subject be friendly with you? Not at all. So try to write it each and every day. Vocabulary one day, French passage one day, and exercises one day. So try to do things like this in a small topics. Okay, so all things, primary things are said. So now it's your turn to follow. Now let's revise 2 ER verbs and 2 IR verbs. Okay, so out of these 2 verbs, I will take the online test. I will make you to write the online test today. Okay, so shall we start? Fine. Okay, so I have written 2 ER verbs and 2 IR verbs. So let's discuss on that. So first we'll start with ER verbs. Okay, so already you know what is ER verbs. ER verbs are nothing but there are three verbs, that is ER, IR and RE. ER is the first group of verbs. Okay, so I know you guys are very familiar with ER verbs. I have taken a very simple verb. First verb is regarder and second verb is parler. Okay, so regarder we will discuss now. Je regarde, tu regardes, elle regarde, nous regardons, vous regardez, elle regarde. So ER verb, only thing you have to remember is the endings E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT. So the first thing you have to remember is, remember you have to take out the root. So what is remaining here is radical. What is radical? So regarder is infinitive. From this infinitive, if you take this root, what is remaining is radical. Regard is radical. So from this radical, you have to just put the radical throughout all the subjects. So what you have to add to the radical is, if it is je, you must add E. If it is tu, add ES. If it is il, add E. If it is nous, add ONS. If it is vous, add EZ. If it is il or al, add ENT. But the pronunciation will change. Okay? So there are three types of pronunciation. For example, this is sound number 1. This is sound number 1 and this is sound number 1. And this is also sound number 1. So sound number 2 is this and sound number 3 is this. So sound number 1, what is sound number 1 is regard. So wherever I have put number 1, you have to use only regard. For example, je regarde, tu regardes, elle regarde, elle regarde. Sound number 1 is over. Now sound number 2. Nous regardons. Nous regardons. This is sound number 2. Sound number 3 is vous regardez. Vous regardez. This is sound number 3. So when you practice, there are two things you have to remember. One, the spelling. One is the spelling. Okay, E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT. That is the endings. Second thing you have to remember is the sounds when you learn. Pronunciation in French is different. You all know it, right? So the sounds will be different. So the sounds will be three sounds: regarde, regardons, regardez. That's it. So next verb, the same verb. I mean the same strategy. We are going to see in parler verb. Okay, parler. The meaning is to speak. Now we will revise the same thing. Je parle. Je parle. Tu parles. Elle parle. Nous parlons. Vous parlez. Elle parle. So if you see the endings, same: E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT. So the endings is point number 1 over. Now this sound, the pronunciation you must remember. That is sound number 1. Je parle. Tu parles. Elle parle. Elle parle. Sound number 1 is over. Now sound number 2. Nous parlons. Nous parlons. Sound number 3. 2 is over. Sound number 3. Vous parlez. Vous parlez. So remember the endings of ER verb is E, ES, E, ONS, EZ and ENT. So this you have been learning from 6th and 7th standard, and whatever you have recently learnt is IR verb. So we will switch on to IR verb also. I have just taken 2 verbs. Only this, out of this 4 verbs I will give online test today. Okay, so it will be very easy for you. And the upcoming class I will switch on to different verbs. Okay. IR verb. So first thing, this is the ending. So circle the ending IR. What is left out is fin. Okay. So you have to repeat this. This is the radical. Je finis, tu finis, elle finit, nous finissons, vous finissez, elle finit. So if you see the endings of finir verb, is, it, issons, issez, issent. So these endings you must remember. So every regular IR verb will end like this: is, it, issons, issez, issent. But if you see the radical left hand side, this is right hand side, am I right? If you see the left hand side, the radical will repeat: fin, 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 and fin. So the radical will be the same from the first subject till the last subject. What will be changing is the endings alone. So I repeat: finir, je finis, tu finis, elle finit, nous finissons, vous finissez, il finit, elle finit. There is a confusion. Some people will read this like finissante. That is wrong. Il finit, elle finit. So the same thing. This is sound number 1. Fini, 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 fini. Sound number 2 is finissons. Sound number 3 is finissez. So it's been a long time, so that's why you would have missed something. That's why I'm just recalling it. Let's go on to choisir. With this we will wind up the class. Okay, so je choisis, tu choisis, elle choisit, nous choisissons, vous choisissez, il choisit, elle choisit. This is same as finir verb. If you see the endings, the IR is taken out, okay, cancelled, and what is left out is radical. The things which I have underlined now is the radical. So the left hand side is, which I have underlined, is radical. The right hand side, which I have not underlined, is the endings. You have to keep it in mind. That is is, it, issons, issez, issent. So these 4 verbs you revise for today's online test. And as I said before, this week I will not open 8th standard book. Okay, so I'll wait for you for 1 week to get your books and get settled. Take your time, but only 1 week I can wait. From next week we will start the 8th standard portion. Fine? Okay, so please revise your 7th standard portions properly, and I welcome you all for 8th standard once again. God bless you all and have a nice day. Get ready for the test. Okay, merci, bonne journée.